Hello and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you are joining us. Welcome to Cricket News Live. I am Rahul Pandey here to talk about the very recently concluded West Indies tour of India, where India cleaned house 6-0, considering three ODIs and three T20s. And yeah, that's how it ended for West Indies and for India, and quite the beginning for the home tour. And I'm joined by Abhishek Mukherjee to talk about the start of the home leg, the home season for India, and how he saw all of that unravel and what his thoughts were. Well, Abhishek, the expected, or was it a little bit of surprise
I
here or there?
expected West Indies to win one of the T20s, but yeah, so
They came pretty close in the second
they
one,
came close.
especially.
They came
Yeah, yeah,
close. They could have
yep,
won one of the three T20s, but it's okay.
yeah,
I mean, and India, this is playing at home. I mean, you can't beat India at home. You have to do something really, really special to beat India in
yeah,
India. So,
yep,
this was expected.
yep, indeed. Indeed, but even the principle, not the principle, but sort of the big takeaway from the series and probably the idea behind it was to give opportunity to as many newcomers as possible, which India did, which we have seen has been, a sort of approach they want to take
There
since
was
the
no newcomer.
last T20 World Cup.
There was no newcomer.
Ravi Bishnoi, not a newcomer.
Bishnoi was retained by an IPL franchisee.
Oh, come on,
Come
Abhishek.
on.
Now we're talking about debuts here. He got his first India cap. So he's a
But
newcomer to the Indian side, right?
that's okay. For him, it's just used to be Punjab Kings. Now it's India.
I mean,
His job is
the
to bowl
kind
on
of confidence, the
bowl
kind of confidence that he
four overs,
exudes, it might be
four
possible.
overs in a day, 4 overs. He has to wear a different shirt. He has to bowl 4 overs on similar pitches. That's it.
But
See,
maybe,
I don't. IPL.
maybe,
I think the IPL seasons grooms cricketers so well that I don't think playing T20 cricket for India is a significant leap for them, because that's what we saw. We saw that with Bishnoi, we saw that with Venkatesh, we saw that with Avesh, Harshal, everyone.
yeah,
They didn't look like debutants. They looked like seasoned
yep,
cricketers. They looked that from the very first match, they looked like they belonged at
yep,
this level. And we saw that in 2021 with Ishan and Surya. Same thing.
definitely.
They always made it seem that they belonged here. And every cricketer you see emerge from the IPL and play T20 cricket for India, you'll see the same thing. Because once you go through the IPL grind of playing 12, 13, 14, 15 matches a season, this is just 3 matches. That too against, you are playing for the superior side.
Yeah,
There were
yeah.
there was less crowd than you get during an IPL match.
Yeah, but
So
that's
where
also
was the
partly because of
where was the
half the series being played behind closed doors. That's
where
a
was the
different
pressure
discussion.
at all?
Yeah, yeah. But even then, let's address them as India debutants for common course of action. But the idea, as Rohit Sharma said, was to bring them in the mold of the team for the
Hmm.
T20 World Cup up ahead and in the ODIs for the ODI World Cup up ahead. And but it did pave some of the good performances from these newcomers as they bailed them out of pressure, which is what the new India captain said. And we saw it especially in the T20 series where the top order wasn't able to perform that much at times, in the middle order, especially the finishes. We saw Surya Kumar Yadav playing nicely in the first and the third T20. We saw Venkatesh Iyer playing at a strike rate of 180 plus in all three games. And those are the kind of finish, Rishabh Pant 50 as well. Those are the kind of finishes India needs to sort of have and before going into the next T20 World Cup, because those are key positions as far as batting is concerned. But yeah, what were your takeaways from the batting department?
I'm not surprised. First of all, Surya Kumar Yadav has been doing this for ages in IPL, and
Yeah.
last year he came to T20 internationals. He hit the first ball he faced for a six. So
Oh yeah, Jofra Archer
yeah,
against
so
Jofra
and
Archer.
he,
Yep.
I mean, I'm not surprised with Surya Kumar Yadav at all. I have always believed that T20, the next generation T20 MVPs are going to be cricketers who do not take time to get set. I don't understand the concept of playing the anchor role in T20 cricket. You get 120
Yeah.
balls, unless it's a very good ball, you should slog. That is what I believe.
Yep.
Every ball is a boundary option, unless it's a very good ball. And
Yeah.
that is how T20 cricket should be played. And Surya has belonged to that style. He Indian cricket took time to catch up with Surya Kumar Yadav, not the other way around.
Yeah.
India still believe that T20 and ODIs are the same because that was the logic they provided when they had the same captain for two formats. They still believe in featuring cricketers, the same batters in both formats. They will get away against West Indies at home, but I don't think they are going to get away with that everywhere. Having said that, I mean, Surya is a batter who belongs to the contemporary generation of T20 batters. I mean, he is your T20 batting prototype. I would like to see all six batters, including the wicket keeper, and two bowlers bat in that format. Hit everything. Unless if it's a very good ball, keep it out, play it out, or try to hit a boundary. Don't try
Yeah.
to keep wickets in hand.
Yeah.
There's no point.
Yeah, we talked about wicketkeeper, and especially the two Indian wicketkeepers in this series were given the freedom to just go ahead and do it. And, that's their that's their first nature. In fact, when it comes to this format, and do believe there was some leaps in terms of the direction that you're talking about that India need to take in T20 with the players and their roles specified to them, as Venkatesh Iyer also said after the first match, I guess. And boy, he was on show with the bat, wasn't he? And took two wickets as well yesterday. Eden Gardens getting a flavor of Venkatesh Iyer in an India jersey before a KKR jersey is quite the thing to watch him in this Indian team. And at first, of course, there were doubts as to how he's going to operate in the low middle order because, preferably top order batter. But he has been seamless in that transition, looked seamless in
Who
that
had
transition
doubts?
in the side.
Who had doubts?
He's a top order batter, and when he
True.
gets to bat in the middle order, it's not going to be that easy, isn't it?
It's okay. I mean,
I think it's
they'll
not
adjust.
okay
They'll adjust.
for it's not okay unless you are a world class batter, which he is.
See, if you are retained by an IPL franchisee, you're automatically a very good cricketer. You belong to that level. This is something
Yeah.
the IPL franchisees are not stupid. They don't retain ordinary cricketers. They
Yep.
they by retaining, you are ensuring that no other franchisee picks that cricketer up. That automatically makes you special and in demand, and you are in demand for a reason.
True. True.
So, and the cricketers we saw shine, the new cricketers we saw shine in this series were either all retained or they went for very high prices at the auction. And
Yeah.
this series demonstrated why that was the case.
Yep. Yep. Do you think with the limited matches that are left now, and what's really going to we talked about India's top order in the ODIs being set, almost set, and no one can really touch with that in terms of the
No, no, no. I
individuals.
don't. I don't think the Indian batting is set in ODIs.
No, that's the conversation we had last time around.
Hmm.
But What are the changes that you see now happening in that, as well as India's T20 batting order?
In ODIs, India need to find a batter who will give them at least 6 7 overs. I'm talking about at least.
Bowling, with the bowling, yeah,
Yes, a batter who will bowl 6 7 overs. That is a bare minimum. See, I'm saying this because we saw Deepak Chahar break down after bowling what 2 overs. If
yeah,
India play five bowlers and five batters, what if one of the bowlers breaks down after bowling 2 overs in an ODI, not a T20?
true,
Is there a batter who can give 8 overs? Do you back Kohli and Rohit to share 8 overs in an ODI, say in a World Cup? That is not going to be the case. If that is the case, this threat is always looming. A bowler breaking down after 1 2 overs, or a bowler having a
yeah,
terrible day, a bowler getting banned after say two balls slipped in. No, he was bowling with with a wet ball. Two balls slipped,
yeah,
and he's banned from bowling in the innings. What do you do? He picks up an injury.
true,
Basic. What do you do? Where
true.
are the 10
Yeah, but
overs going to come from?
but they went with those options, didn't they? Venkatesh Iyer, Deepak Hooda, they had those
Deepak
options
Huda
during the
won't do. Deepak
series.
Huda bowls I think about 5 overs in domestic 50 over matches. 5 overs per match. That is not going to translate to 7 8 overs in at international level. Huda isn't the solution. Huda is an attempt to the solution, but he isn't the solution.
Which
They need to
personnel do
look.
you see filling that role?
Ideally, Hardik, if he's fit to bowl 10 overs, he's the best option. If not, they have to look at elsewhere. It can be Samad, it can be Abhishek Sharma, it can be
Yeah,
Krunal Pandya. I'm mentioning spinners specifically because the next World Cup is going to be in India. So, yeah, it can be anyone. There are many stars in domestic cricket. Maybe the next IPL will tell India who this batting all rounder is going to be.
true.
But uh, whoever it is, it has to be someone who can give 7 8 overs. If India have five bowlers, if they have a wicket keeper, I'm assuming that will be Pant. If they have Kohli, Rohit, and Dhawan and Rahul, that 11th person needs to bowl. Otherwise, India's
Yeah,
ODI combination is not set.
yeah,
They may have 11 very good cricketers, but it won't make a very good team.
yeah.
And
In terms of that, where do you see someone like a Shardul Thakur in 50
yes,
over cricket?
that is the other option. If India play four batters, then a
Yeah,
Rishabh Pant, and then stack the bowling lineup with six bowlers, five of whom can bat. Say if you have Jadeja and Thakur and Chahar and say I don't know,
yeah.
basically
You spoke of
at
Krunal. Krunal
yeah,
is a good option as well.
at
Yeah,
least four
yeah.
people, who can bowl, who can bat. At least four bowlers who can
Mhm.
bat. That formula, ideally six who can bat, but I suppose you have to pick both Bumrah and Chahal. That automatically ensures your batting doesn't extend beyond nine.
Yeah,
So yeah, but that formula basically four batters and then many bowlers who can bowl, who can many bowlers who can bat. For
yeah.
had won India the 1983 World Cup, but I'm not sure whether that formula is going to work into 2022. Let's see.
Even 2011, quite a few options that MS
No,
had
in
with
2011,
Yusuf
India
Pathan.
had batters who could bowl. It was a deep
Oh
batting
yeah,
lineup
yeah, the other way around. Yeah,
where they could bowl. In
yeah.
1983, India had six men who could
Bowlers
bowl.
who could bat. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, that's about one days, about the T20s with the batters who can hit from the word go. What's the top order looking like for India according to you going into the next T20 World Cup?
Sorry, I
What
didn't
do you
catch the
want it
last
to look
question.
like here?
I
What do you
didn't catch.
want the Indian batting order to look like in the going into the next T20 World Cup with the choices that you want to put What's going to be
Uh,
your ideal
I
Indian batting order?
I think we should take a closer call, better call up after the IPL. But I don't think a good performance in this series against West Indies on Indian pitches should guarantee anyone a spot in the World Cup, which is going to
Oh,
be in
definitely.
Australia.
Yeah, yeah.
That is a different. That is going to be a different tournament altogether. The conditions will be
Different
entirely different.
conditions. Ian
So
Bishop
let
made
us
that
not
point after
jump
last
our
night's game.
guns and
Yeah,
say, "Oh, okay,
yeah,
now India's starting 11 is ready." No, let's not
yeah.
jump our guns. Let's wait.
Yeah.
Even the
Sure.
IPL will not guarantee anything. We
It
still
cannot.
don't know.
That,
We know which play. I mean, on the slightly. I mean, they won't make test quality pitches in the test level pitches in the T20 World Cup, but the pitches
yeah,
will carry more bounce.
yeah,
And the moment, I mean, the moment there is bounce, your choice of batters will change. Your
yeah,
choice of bowlers will change. I'm not sure how the medium pacers are going to cope.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm not
Ian
sure
Bishop made
how
this.
comfortably they'll be able to hit across the line. The
Yeah,
same batters who can do it now.
yeah. It was on the same grounds, I think, when Ian Bishop made the point that a couple of bowlers that he saw, bowlers specifically, the series that he saw had lines and lengths that could work out in Australia. Say someone like a Harshal Patel, who in death overs is looking good so far in the IPL, and even in the last two T20Is looked good in the death specifically. Uh, how do you see him and Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who had a couple of moments of brilliance coming back early on in the innings and towards the end in the second T20I? How do you see that bowling lineup now trying to figure itself out?
I'm not sure. I mean, Bhuvaneshwar, Shardul, Chahar, Harshal. I'm not sure how they will do in Australia. I don't think we have seen many of them do in Australia. In the 2015 World Cup,
Yeah,
India played with a bowling lineup that consisted of, I think, Umesh Shami and Mohit Sharma. Bhuvaneshwar
yeah,
played only in the UAE match or something like that. That was the bowling option because, and at that point, Bhuvaneshwar was a far better and more consistent bowler. But even then, they
yeah,
left him out because the hierarchy of bowlers change when you move from subcontinent to Australia.
yeah,
The bowling
sure.
lineup may look entirely different. The focus may shift to wrist spin.
Yep. Speaking of spin, another exciting addition. We talked about Ravi Bishnoi, and India have
And
this
mind you,
luxury of, yeah,
the bowling attack may be Bumrah, Shami, and Prasidh Krishna on fast pitches.
it can be, definitely can be.
Bumrah, Shami, and
Yeah,
Siraj. And one or two of these cricketers may be warming the benches. The medium pacers you
yeah,
see do so well here may not be even in the starting 11 in Australia.
yeah. Definitely. We cannot discount the importance of warm up matches in tournaments like these, where the bowlers and the batters need to get used to the conditions there. But yeah, couple of good positives there for India. Let's talk about West Indies a little as well before we jump on to the next topic. Let's talk about how this tour was for them. Not a very large list of takeaways for them, particularly. The one or two that we did get to see from the T20 series was Nicholas Poole. Three consecutive half centuries for him now, looking an important part in that batting lineup as he did on a couple of occasions in the T20 World Cup. And that was the issue in the T20 World Cup, which was highlighted here as well, especially in the ODI series. The batting order not able to figure out if they want to go all out uh, in terms of attack, or try and sustain wickets for those final few overs. And that's the sort of battle that this West Indies batting order looks to fight at the moment.
A week ago here in the same in another analysis I mentioned about my bias for Puran. I'm not
Yeah,
going to repeat that again. I have always believed that he was going to be the next big thing in West Indies cricket. of the
Sure.
entire batch, the Lewis and Hetmeyer, and this generation of batters. Puran looks exceptional, and
Yeah.
I hope he proves that. I,
Yeah.
I've always wanted to see Puran make big scores. Okay, now that's
Yeah.
happened. That has started to happen,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
First
I
time in his career. First time in
see
his West
something
Indies
in him
career
as well
scoring.
because they made him vice captain. So
Yeah.
they probably see him emerge into a pivotal character in the future of West Indian cricket. So let's see.
For sure.
Wow,
For sure.
wonderful to watch.
Yeah. Exquisite and explosive at the same time. Not quite a few
Yes.
not many batters who can fill in those two adjectives at the same time. And another one who looked really good in the final two matches, especially Rahman Powell. I think I said it after the second T20 that he was murdering the ball and no one was uttering a word because that was quite the brutal assault that he led in the second match. Almost finished it with Puran, didn't he? Almost pulled
Again,
off a Carlos
again,
Brathwaite at Eden Gardens.
the IPL scouts knew this.
They did. They did.
And
Yeah, and Rishabh Pant
I
said
guess
it, right?
at least his numbers are out there. But I'm really impressed by the IPL scouts. The fantastic work they do.
Yeah,
Yeah, at least you can see Powell play. I mean, you have his videos, you have his numbers, but the way they pick absolutely unheard of cricketers and
yeah,
then groom them, then the sides groom. I mean, the IPL
yeah,
scouts do a phenomenal job, which is why the point I made earlier. If an IPL franchise retains you, you're a very good player.
yeah. Yeah, they're taking the game in a very niche direction in the sense
Yes,
that when you
yes.
want a player, you're giving them a very specific role in terms of where you are in the lineup, and that sort of puts you in a good place to go and perform in international cricket. That's the larger point that we are taking away from here. And cheeky moment from Rishabh Pant, of course, saying that Delhi Capitals does have Robin Powell. We talked about Delhi, and now we've seen the firepower they've added in their lineup. But apart from that, not too
Have
many
they confirmed
positives for
Pant
West
as
Indies.
captain?
What?
Have they
Sorry, didn't get
confirmed
you.
Pant as captain?
Pant as captain.
Yep.
He said it
No, right?
himself. Of course, a big player in
Okay.
that lineup. But uh, you, we talked about this before, didn't we? They kept Shreyas Iyer as a captain, and then when they had to let him go, they have
But
someone
now they
like
have
Pant who
Warner.
already took them to playoffs.
Now they have Warner.
The big debate here is: do you want to keep someone who is a prospect for future India captain as your captain?
or
Which
or do you
franchise you wouldn't want
do
that?
you want to combine or do you want a management that is Ponting and Warner?
Both are good prospects. We'll have to wait and see for that in due time. But on West Indies, apart from Puran, maybe Powell, not too many positives there in this white ball series, were there?
No, Odean Smith.
Yep, yep.
Man,
Odin
he can
Smith,
hit. He can hit.
he can, and he did. Yeah.
The other was Roston Chase. I have always thought of Roston Chase as a test batter. He is now emerged. I was following him since the last CPL, and he is from a test batter who can bowl. He has somehow
Yeah,
become a T20 bowler who can bat. This is a weird transformation, but
yeah,
it has been working. I mean, see, 3 years ago, England were playing a test series in West Indies and chased to 8 wickets in an innings. And
yeah,
everyone was surprised
yeah,
because Chase was a batter who could bowl. And now suddenly he is this T20 middle over spin bowling giant who doesn't go for runs and
yeah,
doesn't and takes wickets. I think he had a fantastic CPL 2021, and that changed that 2 3 years down the line. If he becomes a serious T20, if he becomes a big T20 cricketer, this
yeah.
CPL 2021 is going to be the pivotal moment that changed his career.
Yeah, yeah. Had a good, as you were saying about Roston Chase, the test player. Thought of the first series that was played in the pandemic times, the West Indies tour of England. think he performed really well in one of the innings there as well. West Indies won the first Test match in that series.
Yes.
But yeah, do remember watching him play there as well and thinking of this being
Also,
a good player to line up.
Hayden Walsh Jr. This I really want him to. If West Indies doesn't pick him, they can release him. I mean, he
Yeah,
is originally a USA cricketer. He played for the USA, and then the West Indies got him.
yeah,
He can play. I think he would have played a lot more had he stuck to USA.
yep, yep. Well, an interesting question put forward by one of our viewers. Mm, the ending of it sort of anticlimactic, but yeah, that's what Amit Dubey has to say right now. We finally have good 4, 5, 6 and Pun Sky and Wenky. So, question is how we are going to mess it up before World Cup like we did with Raidu in 2019.
India doesn't have a good 4-5-6 yet. I
Amit, that's
would
what we were
not.
talking about right now. Yeah,
Uh, Playing against West Indies at home does not prepare you for a T20 World Cup in Australia,
yeah,
where the length will change. Length of the bowling they will face will change, will definitely
yeah,
change.
yeah.
So
A
let
lot of
us
things
not
which,
jump the
yeah,
gun this soon and say that we have found the 4-5-6.
yeah,
That 4-5-6, these four, these three can be the 4-5-6, but let us not finalize on them at this point. There is another
yeah,
series at home, and then there's the big IPL.
true.
So let us see. And this IPL, I think there are 74 matches, but everyone gets to play 10 matches anyway. 14 matches anyway. So yeah, so they will get 14 more opportunities plus the playoffs.
Yeah. Not just them, quite a few more players will get those opportunities, and
Someone new may
perhaps will.
emerge.
Yeah, definitely, most likely. Uh, yep.
I
Can we
really
jump?
I was really keen to see Hunger Gaker, but looks like his career is now in jeopardy after the.
Why? Why so?
He has this age fraud issues against him now, so
Yeah,
I'm not sure because he can hit the ball like, I mean, not the strike rate is revealing, but he can really hit the ball, and he is a bowler. So
yeah,
I had really expected him to become that limited overs all rounder, but looks
yeah.
like things may turn out to be bad for him.
We did talk about him during the Under 19 World Cup with Sandeep and watched him up close in the nets. Sandeep and Banerjee, our principal correspondent, and did say he had a lot of material that you want,
He
raw
hits,
material that you wanted a
he hits
pacer.
violently.
Yeah,
There's no other term for it.
yeah,
He just hits.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's on the India series with West Indies. But there is another thing to talk about currently in Indian cricket, isn't it, Abhishek? With all that's been happening with Riddhiman Saha and with all that's been spoken. Uh, Firstly, let's talk about the retirement thing, the chat that he had with Dravid that he did mention. Uh, of course, we'll be coming back to you,
I'll
Amit,
take
on
that
that
question.
question. Yeah,
I'll take
sure,
Amit's question. Yeah,
sure, definitely.
I think we should stop giving away the orange cap to the leading run scorer as well. Stopping 50s in T20s and basically stop giving the orange. I mean, rewarding most runs with the orange cap. That reward should go to the cricketer who with the highest strike rate. Say put a 100 run or a 150 run cutoff, and
Yeah,
the orange cap should go to the cricketer with the highest strike rate, not the one to the
yeah,
with the most runs. That is that concept used to be relevant in 2008 when it started. It has no relevance now. Most runs, most
yeah,
50s. I don't know. At some point, T20 statistics used to involve 30s, which I found still made some sense, but even then it doesn't make sense.
yeah,
It would rather show in how many times How many times in your career have you struck at a strike rate of over 150? That makes sense.
Yeah.
How many
Yeah.
sixes you have hit?
Yep.
That makes sense. Now, most runs doesn't make sense, and that batting average column should not exist in T20 cricket.
Sure.
It
True.
gives it provides a false sense of false sense of hierarchy among fans, because we think that scoring at a high batting average is indicator of good batting in T20 cricket. It isn't.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah.
if a batter strikes at 130, someone who has scored averages 50 is worse than someone who averages 25, because he wastes more balls scoring at 130.
Yeah.
And but we
Yeah.
do not understand this. We keep rewarding the orange cap to the highest scorer.
We saw an interesting example of this in the first T20 when Rohit Sharma played, scored 40 runs of 19 deliveries, and Ishan Kishan, on the other hand, scored 35 of 41 deliveries. Now the difference between that is huge in terms of the
Huge,
balls
huge.
consumed in a 120 ball format. That's a big difference. But yeah, uh, good thought there. Something for the IPL committee to perhaps think on. But let's come back to talk about Riddiman Saha. And what do you make of these two separate events? Because him and the retirement talk with Dravid that he
Okay,
had, that he has
there
mentioned,
are
is a different
there
thing.
are several points about Saha. First,
Yeah,
whether he should have been dropped. That
yeah,
is the first point. I think
yeah,
it's a fair
yeah,
call, because see, there are three wicket keepers of whom you have to pick two,
yeah,
not three. Ideally, given BCCI's budget, they can always carry three, but that's another separate issue.
yeah,
Um, so essentially, they had to pick two. Pant makes it because of his batting and improved wicket keeping, and between the two others, they given that they want to invest in the future, they went for the 28-year-old, I think, wicket keeper, who the younger wicket keeper who doesn't get injured a lot, ahead of the injury prone senior wicket keeper, which is fine. Saha won't
yeah,
be around in say 3 years time.
yeah,
This, I mean, I know a lot of people have pointed out Rohit Sharma's age, but Rohit Sharma is a batter. Saha is a wicket keeper. A
yeah,
35-year-old batter is not the same as a 38-year-old wicket keeper. Now
true.
the next point, how the communication. Yes, this is how professional setups should work. A cricketer should have absolute clarity about what the team management and the selectors think of him,
Yeah,
so that he can also plan on his future, whether he wants to continue with cricket, whether he wants to pursue an alternate career. That
yeah,
clarity is always important. And I think the way it was conveyed was very professional. However, it should probably have come from the selectors and not the coach. But then they may choose someone. It's their choice whom they may use to convey that message. Or Dravid might have taken the call. But I think the clarity was excellent.
yeah, yeah. It might have come from a place of them having played together before,
Mhm.
and that sort of bond between a player and a coach probably might be different. So yeah, uh, upon that, of course, a lot of talk post that is also about this really disastrous communication, and not even communication, disastrous threat. I mean, I read a tweet somewhere that empathy died 1,000 deaths when someone actually threatens you on the day you have not been selected in the India team. You're talking about your retirement, and then that conversation happens. I mean, where are we going with this? With this sort of a place where the journalists who talk about the sport have this sort of power to do something and then not be affected at all, or not be punished at all for that particular thing.
They may still be punished, for all you know. One can
We
only
don't
hope.
know
I don't
who,
know. Yeah.
officially, we don't know who he is or she is.
No, it doesn't matter who they are, but
Yeah,
I'm sure Saha has his reasons for not going public with the name. But I hope that I'm not sure whether it's too much to hope that BCCI intervenes and finds out who the journalist is and takes
yeah,
necessary steps. I hope that happens. My stance has generally been almost always been pro player.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, or essentially, since there seems to be someone very powerful, my stance has always been uh, in a power balance. My stance has always been uh, in support of the one at the receiving end,
Should
and
be,
that is
because there
in
really
this
is
case.
yeah, yeah, given the conversation, there really isn't any point to look the other way and say, okay, there might be a call taken, considering the other person as well, but there really isn't something to think about that. We do hope some action is taken on this particular incident. And yep, that is all from us at Cricket News Live today. Thank you so much, Abhishek Mukherjee. Talking to you has always been a pleasure. Talking cricket to you has always been a pleasure. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. If you do like what you just saw, do hit that subscribe button and share the video. It helps us make more of such content. From all of us here, it is goodbye for now.